Cruise in Review Podcast. Welcome to episode 3. I'm Blake.
And I'm Audrey.
It is so good to have you with us for the third episode of our Cruise in Review Podcast. Today we are talking about the beautiful island of St. Croix.
Yes, oh my gosh. This island was a new one for us, so I'm excited to talk about it today. And gosh, it was beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. Lots of other things coming. News of the week, cruise of the week. Plus, Norris Frog's birthday giveaway. He is our executive producer here on the Cruise in Review podcast. I am affectionately holding his mug. He is the boss. And we'll also be talking about several other things, including a commission-free cruise that we will be giving away. Actually, on the next episode will be when that drawing will be held. So a couple of chances to have some giveaway opportunities here for the Cruise in Review podcast. And again, lots more coming later after our news of the week on St. Croix, which we had a wonderful, wonderful time in.
And the giveaways we're not going to talk about till the end. So you better make sure you keep listening, whether you're listening on your phone or you're actually watching us here. You better keep watching, because if not, we're going to send Norris Frog after you, and you're not going to learn about the giveaways.
He's the enforcer.
Yeah.
Always. News of the week. So the SkyPad on Royal Caribbean ships is no more as of March 31st. It will be removed from the ships that it is on, which is about 5 cruise ships on board Royal Caribbean: Mariner of the Seas, Independence of the Seas, Anthem of the Seas, Odyssey of the Seas, and Spectrum of the Seas. It will be no more. The existing structure will be utilized, but there is no replacement that has been revealed for that. So we don't know what's going in that yellow spear thing. It was closed for a period of time after a relatively tragic accident on board Mariner of the Seas. So not exactly the greatest time for the SkyPad, but it is no more. I'm sure that there will be something fun coming in its place.
Yeah, and I got to do that one time on one of our cruises we went on, and it was a lot of fun. But I definitely could see where it is a little bit of a dangerous thing to have on a cruise ship, and so I understand why Royal Caribbean's wanting to get rid of it, but I'm excited to see what they put in its place because it's an interesting looking object on the back of the cruise ship. So I'm curious to see what they do with that space. It'll be pretty interesting.
It will be very interesting to see what they do with that. Disney Cruise Line announced their summer 2024 itineraries, including the inaugural calls to Lighthouse Point, which is their brand new private island destination. It will be joining Castaway Cay as the private island destinations with Disney Cruise Line. The first cruise ship coming to the island, it'll be June 6th, which is a preview cruise to the island. It'll have things like travel agents, news media, things like that. Where do we get on that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Norris Frog, figure that out.
Yeah, he'll be on that, executive producer. He's like Gelman on Kelly and whoever it is. What's the guy on Jimmy Kimmel? Guillermo.
Guillermo. I almost said Miguel, but I knew that wasn't right. Guillermo, yes.
June 8th is the first actual paying cruise that will be on that island. It features 2 stops at Lighthouse Point. So it'll be a 7-night cruise on the Disney Wish. They will go to... They will hit Lighthouse Point, then they'll go to Castaway Cay, then they'll go to Nassau, then they'll come back to Lighthouse Point. So that's the first cruise is going to Lighthouse Point. Very excited for Lighthouse Point. There are also other itineraries that were released, including Europe and Alaska for summer of 2024 for Disney Cruise Lines. And if you would like to book, shameless plug, you can book with Cruise in Review. Just go to CruiseNReview.com.
Yes.
We'd love to book you on a Disney cruise.
Absolutely, yes. Disney's a cool little feature for adults or, families with kids. And so, I don't want you to cancel it out if you don't have any kids, because they've got a lot of adults-only areas. We've heard the food, incredible. The shows, incredible. You can't beat it.
We were talking about this last night, actually, that we were looking really hard at a Disney cruise potentially for September, October. Be a little less kids, not no kids, but not no kids, not know how. I don't know why I said it like that. We are looking at one kind of hard there.
Norris Frog wants to meet Mickey Mouse.
Norris Frog wants to meet Captain Mickey and
He's never got to
all
meet
things.
Mickey Mouse.
Yes, in fact, his silhouette looks kind of like Mickey Mouse. Now, he doesn't like that, but if he casts a shadow, it kind of looks like Mickey Mouse. Norwegian Cruise Lines has apparently said Beetlejuice 3 times. We don't do that. We don't need that guy running around here. We do not play those games. It is not funny, so do not do that. But they have apparently done it because Beetlejuice will be the featured musical on board the brand new Norwegian Viva, debuting August 2023. The first time ever that the Tony Award winning musical will be presented at sea. The Norwegian Viva is the second of the Prima class of NCL Cruise Line's newest ships coming out.
Very cool. It's neat to see the other cruise lines picking up on the Broadway shows, like Royal Caribbean, because they just take the cruise and the entertainment to the next level. So it's neat to see that they're doing this. So I've never actually seen Beetlejuice the musical, so we might need to jump on that cruise ship to go check that out. But again, we don't want to say Beetlejuice 3 times.
No,
not recommended.
No, I'm not going to. So anyway, that's the news of the week. You can find more news of the week and stay tuned all week long for your news of the week at CruiseNReview.com. We're talking about St. Croix today, and St. Croix was, I would say, we were looking forward to the stop on board our most recent 7-night Southern Caribbean cruise, which is what we're doing. If you've not joined any of our previous episodes, we are working our way day by day through our most recent 7-night Southern Caribbean cruise on board Royal Caribbean's Voyager of the Seas. We left out of San Juan, spent a few days there. Then we went to St. Thomas, and now we went to St. Croix, which is today, which is our discussion today. St. Martin will be next week. Then we went all the way down to St. Lucia, which will be the week after that. And then with Barbados, St. Kitts, and then we came back to San Juan. So great cruise, but we are on what is day 3 of the cruise at this point, where we stopped in St. Croix, which was a place we had actually never been. It's a U.S. Virgin Island. It is actually the largest, if you look at landmass, of the U.S. Virgin Islands. We were really, really excited about St. Croix because it was a place we had never been, but we'd heard wonderful things about how nice it was. But I don't think we could have ever anticipated the amount of fun that we had there.
Yeah, we did a Royal Caribbean shore excursion. We kind of did some research, looking around and see exactly what we wanted to do. Went to a beautiful beach. We got to see a little bit of the whole island, you would say, because the actual cruise ship docked on one part of the island, and then we drove to the other part to do the shore excursion we're going to talk about. So beautiful place, St. Croix.
Yeah, so normally, to know how we do things, if you're wondering, we do venture out a lot on our own. But if we've never been to a place and we're just a little unsure about transportation, the layout of everything, we will a lot of times take a ship tour, kind of get the lay of the land. And if we ever go back, then we'll go out on our own once we learn the safety, the security, the layout, how the taxis work, how the people are, maybe see something we want to go back to. So St. Croix, we went with the ship excursion. We found something we really, really liked. We'll talk more about that here in a minute, but we don't just want to leave you with what we did because there's so much more to do in these places than what we do.
Yes.
But so a little bit about St. Croix. So it is a U.S. Virgin Island. It is, there are really 2 main places on this island. You've got Frederiksted, which is where the cruise ships dock, and Christiansted, which is where a lot of the sailing vessels and things like that dock. It also is kind of, to me, seemed to be the epicenter of everything, was over in Christiansted. It's not as common of a cruise stop, but there are cruises that go there. Southern Caribbean, some Eastern Caribbeans will stop there. But it is a very, very nice place. The cruise port area was very, very nice. A little older, but it was very, very nice. It is famous for diving and snorkeling and beautiful beaches, as all of the Virgin Islands are. And it lived up to the expectations. So we docked into Frederiksted, and then our excursion actually took us to Christiansted, which was about a 45-minute drive. We'll get into that here in a minute. But again, some things to do. You can snorkel and dive. You can go to the beach. There's a beach right near the port, which we actually walked over to.
Yeah. You can walk to it. It's and they seem to have chairs and umbrellas, if I remember. It looked like you could rent chairs and umbrellas. And if you're somebody that likes to look at the cruise ships while you're on the beach, that would be a great place to be. I know I like to do that. So that was kind of cool. There was also a lot of local vendors around. With there was food. It seemed that there were food trucks, and there were people doing ice cream, it looked like, and a lot of the local vendors selling the T-shirts and the necklaces and all the souvenirs that you can buy to your heart's desire at most cruise ports. It had all that. And the water, there was a lot of sea life you could see in the water just from the cruise port too. I think we saw a sea turtle. I'm trying to think if we saw anything else.
It was sea turtle mating season, so they were going up and actually, having eggs, which we found out later they were kind of nesting. And I don't know if it was mating season or if it was nesting season. I don't really know, but they were everywhere. Yeah. We saw 7 to 10 sea turtles just off of the pier.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, the port area at St. Croix seemed to be real nice, and it was easy accessed, and like I said, there was a lot of food vendors, so you could just hang out around there if you wanted to.
You could go right or left. There was a beach on either side. I think somebody told me that the beach, if you walked off the cruise, the end of the dock at the cruise pier and turned right, the chairs and everything were cheaper down there. But looked like very pretty beach. We walked over there. You can see some of that video. Looked very pretty. So if you just don't want to take an easy day, because there's also a lot of bars and restaurants near the port, a lot of local places, ton of stuff to do over there. So if you wanted to get something to eat, you wanted to hang out at the beach, you'd never even have to get in a taxi.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're somebody that wants to just really explore the self-guided culinary tour, as we call it, that is definitely an option in St. Croix if you wanted to take advantage of that. They, they've got tons of local beer you can try. Our favorite is always the Caribe and the. I think I had Michelob Ultra at one of them, but there was another, very original. But there was a whole nother set of local beer at one of the bars we walked by that I could have sat there and probably drank all 6 of those, try all the different flavors. So the self-guided culinary tour is definitely a great option in St. Croix if that's your thing, for sure.
Yeah, you could also, we went to Christiansted on our ship tour, but you could also just take a taxi over to Christiansted. It's about 45 minutes, so a lot of time to get back, but there was a lot to do over there. Local bakeries, coffee shops, which one of our people on our tour affectionately tended to.
Yes.
And then, but you could travel over there via taxi. There were taxis just everywhere over there. And then if you wanted another beach option outside of the one we went to, maybe a little easier than the one we went to, but there's Sandy Point Wildlife Refuge. You could go over there, beautiful beach over there that you could go to. That was not a ship tour offered, but if you wanted to go out on your own, you could take a taxi over there. Might be something we explore in the future, but we'll tell you about where we went here in just a little bit. But a ton to do in St. Croix, against diving, snorkeling, anything you wanted to do like that. And then, of course, there's your vintage rum tours. There's the old sugar factory tours. There's forts. There's a fort over in Christiansted a lot of people go to. So if you're into that sort of thing, if you don't want to do beaches, it's all available to you in St. Croix.
Yes, absolutely. And the weather was fantastic. Again, when we were there, the water was super blue. So like I said, the snorkeling, the diving, if that's something you're into, it's a great thing to do in St. Croix. But if you're not into that, there's tons of other things to do.
So we in St. Croix, we went out. First of all, we had a ton of time. Our tour was an afternoon tour, left about 1 o'clock. The ship was in port till 6. So we had a ton of time to go out and kind of explore. So we walked around the port area, went and saw the beach we were telling you about. And then we actually went and found a little local bar that we went into. It looked like a lot of the crew members. You'll see these bars, and you know that they're probably a pretty good local establishment. They're offering free Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And you'll notice a lot of the crew members are in there. They have to pay for their Wi-Fi on board. So what they'll do, they'll go in and they'll have them a drink or something to eat, and they'll get the free Wi-Fi. They'll talk to family back home. And those are always really, really, really fun places.
Yeah.
They typically have good food. They have cheap drinks. And, of course, if you want to use the Wi-Fi, it is available to you as well. So we went in a little local establishment and had a couple of drinks before we went out on our tour, explored around the area a little bit, kind of made plans for when we did come back from our tour for something to do. I really, really enjoyed, having a drink in this local bar. Staff was very nice and friendly, and it was open air and just had a great Caribbean vibe.
Yeah, you got to sit outside. You could see the ocean from where we were, so that was kind of neat too. You had a lot of the local animal birds flying around, which was neat, and you just felt like you were with a bunch of the locals, in my opinion, when to me is what we always try to do. You don't want to go do those touristy where it's full of all the Americans. This is where they went. You want to try to find those hole in the wall places where the locals go because the food's going to be the best. I mean, that's kind of what we look for anyways.
Absolutely. And so our tour actually left about 1 o'clock. It took us over to Christiansted to board the boat. Our tour was actually a Buck Island snorkel. So we were going to go over to Buck Island. That's a national monument, what they call a national monument in St. Croix. So it's protected. It's a reserve. And that is over off of Christiansted. So we took about a 45-minute ride over to Christiansted. Then we jumped on a boat. And we went out to the Buck Island National Monument. You will see the water when we got near Buck Island was just unbelievable. It was some of the bluest water I've ever seen. It was so clear.
Yeah.
And then we went for the snorkel, which was just right off the backside of Buck Island. Terrific snorkel. I will say this. If you are not a strong swimmer, this may not be the snorkel for you.
Yeah.
We're both relatively strong swimmers, and I think it's safe to say we were pretty tired when it was over.
Yes, yeah. I mean, you kept kind of wanting to get up and take a break because the water, you had the current of the waves pushing you. You also had to be careful. The snorkel was very narrow because of the reefs.
And shallow.
Yeah.
And you don't want to hit the reef because one, it'll kill the reef, and two, it might kill you.
Yeah.
So either one of you two is dying, and possibly both of you. So that's a little dramatic, but you do not want to hit the coral reef under any circumstances. And it was very narrow, and you were either swimming up the current or you were swimming across the current. And either way, you were fighting it. We're pretty strong swimmers. We made it the entire time, but there were a lot of people who turned back and went back. And I think that's how that snorkel is. If you're a good swimmer, it's an amazing snorkel.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad we did it. Yes. Like I, when we say we recommend it, we highly recommend it because it was incredible. And the water, you couldn't get over how blue it was and how clear it was, which is what made the snorkel so good. But the current was definitely, it was pushing you this way, but then it was also pushing you side to side, and so you had to make sure you were, keeping your balance there when you were swimming so you weren't running into the coral in the shallow areas, trying to follow the guide so you'll follow along the national, the way you're supposed to go.
It had a little plaque underneath the water, and it would kind of tell you about what you were seeing. And it was very, very cool, very, very well laid out. One of the better reefs I've seen. I think my top all-time reef was in Bonaire, but this was close. Yeah. It was close. And then the water was just, again, so clear. Great snorkel, but if we were working with you on this, we would make sure that you were a good, solid swimmer, because we would hate for you to take this tour and get out there. And there were a lot of people that got to it, and it says it, but sometimes the definitions of strenuous on excursions can be different. I've gone on and they say it's a very strenuous, and it wasn't very bad at all. This one was very strenuous. Again, I feel like we're in okay shape. I feel like we're both really good swimmers. You were a lifeguard, and I grew up in the water. But just be advised on this. But if you are a good swimmer and you love snorkeling or you love diving, go do this. Yes. Wonderful snorkel.
100% recommend.
Absolutely. So then after that was over, it was a beautiful snorkel. We had a wonderful time. We get back on the boat. And because the snorkel did not take very long, because there were only ended up being about 10 of us out of about 50 that finished the snorkel, we had some extra time. And so they decided they were going to take us over to Turtle Beach, which is actually on Buck Island. So Turtle Beach and Buck Island, it's a national monument. It is a protected reserve. So what we're doing is you can't wear your shoes. They actually took our shoes before we got on the boat. There was a guy standing there with a sack. Yeah. And he was like, here, put your shoes in this bag. And as soon as I put them in there and we got on the boat, I was like, I hope that guy works for the tour. I hope it's just not some dude stealing our shoes. But we very compliantly just dropped our shoes in this
everybody
bag.
did that. Oh, here's your shoes.
Yeah. If you ever want to steal shoes, just go over there. It's great. But anyway, we got our shoes back at the end. But you couldn't wear shoes. In the Virgin Islands, certain types of sunscreen are banned because it kills the coral reefs. We abided by these rules. In fact, we thought a lot about that. We love coral reefs. We love these things, and if they're telling us that this is hurting the coral reefs, we want to be a part of saving them because they're so beautiful. But anyway, they let us off at this beach, and you're seeing video of this right now. It is absolutely one of the prettiest beaches I have ever seen. Yeah,
I remember when we drove by it on the boat, headed to the snorkel. You and I both were like, oh my gosh, what is that? Because the water, I'm telling you, you can probably see video of it. It is incredible how blue it is. And honestly, these videos don't do it justice, really. And there's no buildings, there's no restaurants. It's a national landmark where it's just
there was nobody on it. There might have been 7 people. Yeah. Even most of our people didn't get off the boat. I think they were tired from the snorkel. Yeah. But Turtle Beach on Buck Island would immediately rate in my top beaches of all time. And we've been very, very blessed to see a ton of beaches. If I go back, I'm going to find a way to get there. Yeah. I'll charter a boat myself. I'll see if I can get a group to go. But it is a gorgeous beach, so natural and pristine, and white sand, and it's just hard to describe. It's one of those things when you're looking at it and you're walking up and down it, you just can't believe that you're there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's people always talk about things you see out of movies. They always say, man, that looks like something you see out of a movie. That beach literally looks like something you see out of a magazine, a movie. it was really incredible that we were standing there until, if you want to do this tour and maybe skip out on the snorkel just to go to the beach, I would do that 100%. If you like to ride in a boat, get in the boat, ride around, go see the water.
Was great. Yes. But the beach just was the highlight of the trip. Yes. And we weren't there for very long because that wasn't really part of the tour. It was actually just the staff giving us just a little extra piece because some of the people didn't get to enjoy the snorkel as much as they would like. The staff on the tour was wonderful too. Yes. But it was amazing. It was amazing. It's on every cruise, there's always something I see that you just can't believe you're seeing it. Whether it's, flying fish coming up out of the water, dolphins, a pretty beach, a pretty snorkel, somebody breakdancing, it could be anything. But I see something every time. And this was probably that peak moment for me when just could not believe I was there. I just loved it so much. And you know, again, every cruise I have that moment where I'm standing somewhere and I just can't believe I'm seeing it. My mind doesn't even want to take that in. Buck Island, Turtle Beach was it.
Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. You know, and like Blake said, I hope when we go back to St. Croix, you know, I'd love to find a place to just get back to Turtle Beach. I mean, take a boat, you know, whatever.
Ruffles.
Take a bag of Ruffles. This lady, and the reason we bring this up is because, and I have to tell this story because
you just didn't say it like that the last time. The last time you said, we'll just take a boat and a bag of Ruffles and we'll go out there. And nobody had any clue what you were talking about. It's so specific. Ruffles.
When we went to Turtle Beach from our short excursion, we got off the boat, we started walking up and down the beach, and there was this lady sitting at a picnic table with 2 or 3 people, you know, I'm assuming her friends were sitting there, and all they had on that table was a bag of sour cream and onion chips, the Ruffles, sour cream and onion Ruffles. And I thought, now that is the way to enjoy your day in St. Croix, was get a private boat, go to Turtle Beach, bring a bag of Ruffles, and just hang out. I love chips, though. I have a bad addiction with chips, so don't ever put chips in front of me because I'm gonna eat them unless you're gonna share. You know, Norris Frog has a bad problem with that. He doesn't like to share, and he brings in chips, and then I want some, and then he's mad at me. But that's all I'm gonna say about that. Is that,
you sure?
Yeah.
You don't want to just keep going?
No, I'm just saying. That's all I want to tell about that lady. And just, she was living her best life. She was living her best life that day. I was very jealous.
Ruffles.
St. Croix. Gotta go.
If you have a problem with chips, please call our hotline at 1-800-NEED-RUFFLES.com. I'm lost. Good grief. It's great. It's a beautiful place, and if you have Ruffles, it is enhanced. It is an enhanced.
I'm just saying, that lady was living her best life.
She looked like she was, but so were we. We didn't have to have Ruffles to have a good time.
We were. I also was hungry. I'm going to point that out. Swimming makes me incredibly hungry. And we had just done that big. That
is true.
That tough snorkeling, which was beautiful.
And Ruffles are excellent.
Yeah.
We do not get paid by Ruffles. But if they would like to sponsor us, you can put it on the coffee mug. We'll eat Ruffles. Audrey's made it very clear she'd be happy to eat Ruffles on the show. So if Ruffles wants to sponsor,
let us know.
All 60 people that watch our podcast, we would be glad to.
CruiseNReview. Just send it. Just drop in the DMs.
Sponsored by Ruffles.
Isn't that what people say? Drop in the DMs.
Whatever. Great day at Turtle Beach. Wonderful day at Turtle Beach. Even though we didn't have Ruffles, we had a wonderful time.
We had a wonderful time.
Had a great time. Beautiful place. If you ever had a chance to go to St. Croix, go there. Norris Frog had a really good time. So it was awesome. When we got back, we had actually probably about an hour and a half. We've gotten into this thing where we just don't get back on the cruise ship until we absolutely have to. And so what we'll do, we'll kind of hover around the port. So we know if we get near all aboard time, we can just get back in 5 minutes. So we'll always find us a good restaurant. It's how we found Ernesto's in Cozumel. So we find these places. Well, we went in, we found a local restaurant. It was called the Los Angeles Cafe and Restaurant. Do not recommend it. Honestly, the guy there was really, really rude, and the food was just very average. Yeah. But there was a lot of restaurants. I heard there were some other good ones. I just don't think we made the best choice.
Yeah.
In the spirit of telling you all honesty, not everything we do is perfect.
Yeah.
I assure you. Sometimes we get very, very lucky a lot of times when we find these awesome places, but not everything you do is perfect. This was not perfect. We had a couple of beers. It was great. We were right there by the port. We extended our time. But honestly, there was, I think it was the Los Angeles Cafe and Restaurant. I would not recommend. Maybe they were just having a bad day. Maybe they were at the end of their service day. Maybe this guy was having a bad day. But there were other places that I heard people had a really good time at. And you just, I mean, take your pick around the area.
Yeah.
They're a very safe area. Walk around. Have a good time. That's one of my favorite things about St. Croix. In Frederickstead or Christianstead, you can just walk around and have a good time. The locals were friendly. The food was good. It's safe. You can drink water. You can do any of those things and not worry about that. There were chickens running around. Don't touch them. Don't feed them. They're nice. There's a reason they've not been eaten. One of the local guys made a very, very good point. He said, hey, people are like feeding them and petting them. They carry diseases. There's a reason that the chickens have not been eaten by the local people. They're nasty. Yeah. They eat out of the garbage, whatever. So, but don't feed the chickens. I saw somebody doing that, and it makes no sense.
Yeah. And there was a lot of cool restaurants at Christianstead, too. So, if you're not going to get out and go do a short excursion, you might, like Blake said, take a taxi over there, because there were restaurants that were right on the water in Christianstead, which I thought was, I thought that was so neat. Like where our boat pulled up for us to at the harbor for us to get on for the shore excursion, there was 3 or 4 restaurants right there along the water, which I thought was really cool. So, again, we may have not have picked the best restaurant, but that was our first time in St. Croix. So
we just won't go there again.
Yeah, we'll go try a different one. I mean, that's what you got to do when you're out exploring. Yeah. You pick somewhere, you give it a try. If you don't like it, don't go back. Yeah. Pick a different one next time.
On the whole, excellent day in St. Croix. If it's a stop on any cruise that you're looking at, totally recommend it. You can have a very relaxed day doing nothing.
Yes.
You can adventure all you want to. So great day in St. Croix. And again, I hope that video did it justice. Let's move on to our cruise of the week. Did you know that you can visit San Juan, St. Thomas, St. Kitts, St. Martin, St. Croix from Galveston? Did you know that?
No,
Did you know that?
No.
Well, you can't right now, but you have to wait till 2025. He does know that. He knows all things. Yeah. So actually, cool thing. I figured this out looking for our cruise of the week, but they have actually added some longer cruises from Galveston in 2024, late 2024, early 2025 on board Carnival Dream. You can take a 14-day Eastern Caribbean from Galveston on the Carnival Dream. It hits Key West, Grand Turk, San Juan, St. Thomas, St. Kitts, St. Martin, St. Croix, Ocho Rios, and Galveston is the return port as well. So you come back to Galveston.
Nice.
It's offered twice, once in October 2024 and in January of 2025. It's actually affordable for a 14-night cruise. Interior rooms starting at $1,300 per person. And balcony rooms around $2,700 per person, which you look at, that's like 2 cruises.
Yeah.
Food, not a bad price.
Yeah, food, entertainment, you get to go to all those places for 14 days. I mean, that's pretty incredible. I mean, because you think about plane tickets down to San Juan, you've got to factor that into the price of the cruise, in my opinion, too. You can drive to Galveston if you live in our area. I mean, depending on where you're listening from, we can drive to Galveston.
We have a lot of followers. Yeah, we have a lot of followers from, the kind of middle part of the southern United States, Arkansas, Missouri, Texas. That's a lot of the base that we have. And a lot of people cruise out of Galveston or New Orleans. So I thought that was a very good, we have a lot of people that don't want to fly or they have a lot of kids. And so I'm trying to find these unique cruises that are not taking them to the same places over and over and over again, because you're very limited on itinerary from Galveston or New Orleans because you're so deep up into the Gulf of Mexico. Yes. This one is great.
Yeah, that's
Grand
awesome.
Turk, San Juan, St. Thomas, St. Kitts, St. Martin, St. Croix, Ocho Rios, Galveston. And if you would like to book that, you can go to CruiseNReview.com and just click book now, and we will be glad to contact you and help get that set up. Yeah,
yep. And we can help you book all the excursions we've been talking about on some of the islands that we've been to. So that's a great one. That's a really good cruise of the week. So please keep that in mind.
Yes. So this week on Tuesday, so you're watching this on Monday, last Tuesday was Norris Frog's 8th birthday.
Yes.
Old man.
Look, he's got his birthday.
Little Papa. He does have his birthday shirt on here. Get him. Move him over. Can you get him? There he is. Right there. His little birthday shirt on.
Hello.
That's it. So anyway, it is his 8th birthday, and so he decided to give away a $100 gift card to one of his loyal followers. And what you had to do was you had to like or follow one of our social media pages. You had to subscribe to our YouTube channel and our news alerts on our website. The pool was not big. Some people did one and not the other. But he's going to, and that $100 gift card is to anything. It could be $100 off of a trip booked with us. It could be $100 off of a restaurant. It could be a gift card to Lowe's. It could be anything.
The Rainforest Cafe.
It could just be a Visa gift card that we give you at this point. So you get to choose that. And Norris Frog has chosen his winner by random selection, and it is Kirsten Ditto.
Hey!
Yeah, that was one of his original buddies. One of the
Kirsten,
first ever met.
Yeah. Kirsten has known Norris Frog for his whole 8 years, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Pretty positive. Kirsten has known him
most
his
of his
whole life.
That's his Auntie Kirsten.
Yes.
Yeah. So she won the giveaway, so she'll get to pick a gift card. Stay tuned to any of our social media pages to any kind of giveaways that we do. Norris Frog, of course, our executive producer.
Yes.
And he's our, as Carnival would say, our chief fun officer, enforcer, whatever you need. If you need security on any of your cruises, we'll send you with Norris Frog.
Yes.
It could be like a flat Stanley. You could just take pictures with him and everything else. But keep in mind, he does need food, and he has a gambling problem.
Yes.
He smokes cigarettes. So.
Yes. And he'll need access to your credit card, your stateroom account. But you have to set a limit. We've learned you have to set a limit with him because he He does like to eat Chinese, if that's an option on the cruise you're on, and he likes to go to the casino. So best of luck. But
he also likes pina coladas and long walks in the rain. Very romantic, very romantic guy. Frog's very romantic. All kinds of princess movies. You've seen him, so he's good. So congratulations, Kirsten, on winning that. Thank you so much for your support, following our travels, etc. Also, we're doing another giveaway that's actively ongoing, where we will give you our commission back if you book a trip with us. So what you need to do is subscribe to our channel on YouTube, subscribe to our news alerts on our website, go to CruiseNReview.com, scroll about halfway through the page and just enter your email. And then what will happen is if we draw, the drawing will be done on next week's show. You will receive our commission back on a trip booked with us if you win this. We'll pick one winner and you'll receive our commission back. Depending on the type of trip you book, it could be anywhere from $100 to $500, depending on the type of trip you book. But we will give you our portion of the commission back if you win this giveaway. There is no purchase necessary to enter. And again, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, subscribe to our news alerts, and then if you win, we will give you our commission back as well. And anytime, stay tuned to our social media pages. We'll be doing giveaways periodically, and they're always going to be based off of subscribing to our YouTube, subscribing to our news alerts, and liking our social media page. So if you already do those things and those giveaways happen, then you're in.
You're in.
Plus, we give you plenty of deals on our cruises that we've got, anything that we do, and we can book all kinds of trips.
Yes. Yep. And remember that the giveaway is not just cruises. It can be land vacations. It can be trips to Branson. It can be
just a hotel for anything.
Yeah. So just keep us in mind. Please keep us in mind when you're trying to book any travels, because we do love to help you plan any kind of trip. Cruising is definitely one of our expertise things, but we're also experts in hotel stays and in Little Rock. Little weekend stays, you could say, St. Louis, Memphis, Branson. Sure. I could name a whole bunch of them.
Plan a Cardinals trip.
Yeah.
We've had season tickets, and so anything you need like that, we're happy to help you. And if you just want to talk about it, or you're worried about something, or just get a hold of us. And our prices will be the same or better than what you're going to find on the internet. Plus, you have our support and our guidance through that, and our as best as we can to keep you safe and in good areas and doing things that you're going to enjoy to take the stress out of vacation for you. Be sure to follow us on social media at Cruise and Review. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube. You can find us on all of those places. You can also follow Norris Frog at Norris Frog. He does his own giveaways. You can book trips with us. Go to our website, CruiseNReview.com, and you can book travel. You can just sign up, fill out a little form, tell us a little bit about the trip you want to do, and then we will reach out to you. You can also reach us at info@CruiseNReview.com, and we'll make a connection with you. Our next podcast, which will be episode 4, we will be talking about St. Martin.
One of your favorites.
I love St. Martin. It is one of my favorite places in the entire Caribbean. I carry on about St. Martin. We will talk about that. Next show is April 3rd, which is also where we will do the drawing for the commission-free trip. And be sure to subscribe to our channel. Make sure you do that, and that way you can be entered to win all kinds of drawings. You'll get the alerts when the new podcast drops. You can also listen to the podcast anywhere you get your podcast. Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon. You can listen to it there, Buzzsprout, and you can listen to it on your way to work. So if you don't get done and you want to keep listening, you can just plug it in. Maybe you're working out. You can listen to the podcast going for your walk. It is available on any of those. That is audio only, so none of the video or anything. But if you just want to listen, you can do that.
Yes, if you don't want to see Norris Frog's cute face like you can on the video, you can listen to it in on your phone.
He's just hiding weirdly out behind the lower third. So right across it. You see his eyeball sticking out. There he is. Right there. I'm Blake.
And I'm Audrey.
This has been the Cruise and Review Podcast. Next show is April 3rd. Bye-bye for now.